Look, the basic fact is that Pakistan has now started intervening very blatantly, militarily in the Afghan imbroglio. And the simple fact is that the Taliban had launched a series of attacks on the Panjshir Valley. They got a bloody nose. The Kabul hospital was overflowing with Taliban casualties. So the Taliban requested General Bajwa that if they can get him the head of Amrullah Saleh, they will do anything that he wants in Jammu and Kashmir. Therefore, General Adil Rahmani of the SSG group of Pakistan is now conducting the operations in civil clothes inside Afghanistan. He is directing the ops on the Panjshir Valley. Directly leading the assault are two Pakistani SSG battalions. One of them is led by Lieutenant Colonel Umaid, right? And the simple fact is that they have got in support a squadron of tanks. They initially had a battery of 155 guns. These were found pitifully inadequate. So therefore, then they added one battery each haphazard way, one battery of 105, one battery of 130s, and now a whole regiment of 130mm guns has been pushed forward. The simple fact is that these Pakistanis have also taken a pasting. One officer, 3 JCOs, 17 other ranks of these Pakistani SSG battalions. They have been killed, about 25 have been wounded, which are being flown back in the B-17 helicopters. They have a serious problem of resupply. The fact is they have sent all mixed calibers. Each one of them requires different ammunition. They are firing like mad. They are blazing away, wasting ammunition, so they need ammunition replacement. And General Adil Rahmani has been crying himself hoarse. Please get me logistic support, please get me logistic support, send me tent, send me communication equipment, and then he is asking for reinforcements in terms of artillery. So about a regiment more of artillery is going. Pakistan and the Taliban are claiming they have already conquered Panjshir. The same claim we have heard for the last 5 days, but the fighting is continuing. The simple fact is the Taliban may have just advanced sometimes on the valley floor. The Tajiks are not on the valley floor. They are on the heights overlooking the narrow valley. And any fool who enters the valley can at any time be ambushed and destroyed. The Tajiks have already killed 1,500 Talibani fighters by these kind of ambushes from the top, and about 120 of them who got surrendered. They ran out of ammunition, they were blazing like mad, and they have now surrendered, right? So I don't think Taliban is very correct in claiming victory. I know for a fact that the Pakistani ISPR has sent hordes of Pakistani correspondents there to try and give this false picture, narrative picture, disinformation that Tajiks are gone. It's been going on for 5 days, exactly as their government formation has been going on since Friday. Kal government, Parso government, Chauth government. The simple fact is there are clashes between the Afghanistani factions. You know, Akhundzada's men have clashed with Haqqani group. Mullah brothers' men have clashed with Haqqani group. In fact, there are some media reports that he was even injured, Mullah brother. Don't forget, Mullah brother was in Pakistani jails for 8 years. It is at US insistence that he was let loose, because he had earlier been talking to Karzai and to the Americans, and therefore the Pakistanis had put him behind bars. So I don't think he is a very great friend of Pakistan. And Pakistan is now trying to see the DG ISI, Lieutenant General Faiz Hamid, is right now been strutting. He has established camp in Kabul, and like some kind of conqueror, he came and his, the Taliban lackeys gave him, they celebrated gunfire. And in that stupid gunfire all over the town, they killed 17 civilians by their wild and random shooting. So that was the time we were told they were celebrating the conquest of Panjshir. And it is 5 days since the fighting is going on, and quite strong. Tajikistan has come in open support of the Tajiks of Panjshir. Open support, right? And the Iranian leader has clearly told Taliban that they will have to win elections. They'll have to be elected by the people of Afghanistan if they want to be recognized. And they are very unhappy with Pakistan using its drones and helicopters. By the way, Pakistan is using 4 UA Cobra helicopters in Panjshir Valley. If the Tajikistan people send in a couple of shoulder-fired anti-aircraft missiles, SAM-7s or Strelas, the Pakistani helicopter operations will come to a very swift end. What is happening is that General Bajwa has been monitoring these operations for the past week from the GHQ war room, underground war room, and the orders have been given that no military operation directorate officer, no MI directorate officer will go home. They will all operate from there, right? They are very worried that there are some leaks taking place from their ops room, right? And therefore the waiters have been forbidden from serving tea inside. The Pakistani officers are now doing the job of waiters. There was a Chinese general inside the Rawalpindi war room. They are monitoring operations together. They are providing advice. They are very worried, the Chinese especially, because if they want to extract the $2 billion worth of mineral wealth of Afghanistan, they'll need a quiet Afghanistan. They were hoping that the Taliban would have fully pacified Afghanistan. I think the Chinese would be very naive to believe that they will get a pacified Afghanistan. What about ISIS-K? What about Mullah Omar's, Tanzim? What about the other fighters from Syria and Iraq? Will they stop fighting? The Taliban was saying it will not let Afghan soil be used from, its soil to attack any other country. What happened on 26th August? A huge suicide bombing, 180 Afghans killed, 13 US Marines killed, 18 wounded. Who did it? IS Khorasan, humne nahi kiya. So what is the worth of the Taliban assuring anybody or the other countries of the world that Afghan soil will not be used for attacks? IS Khorasan is not listening to Taliban, and Taliban has no control, and therefore the situation is extremely fluid. I think the world must help the Tajiks of Panjshir, the last resistance. The good news is that it is a formidable mountain position. The Taliban may make entries into the valley, but they are not, they haven't been able to secure the heights. And in the mountains, the valleys are least important. It is the heights that you have to get victory. I mean, any fool who knows mountain warfare knows that. We are told that General Bajwa is getting very irritable, very angry. He has been giving, a mouthful to his Vice Chief of Army Staff who was directing operations, and to the Chief of General Staff, and GOC 11 Corps is now being told to step on the gas and to get logistic supplies going and to push the Northern Light Infantry battalions forward. Now look, if you are winning a war, do you send reinforcements? You send reinforcements when you are in trouble. And that is what the exact truth is. 11 Corps of Pakistan, which is now tasked to provide all these artillery support, logistical support, send the NLI battalions, and I am told they are sending their 3rd SSG battalion forward. They are sending the NLI commando battalion forward to fight. So with this, it is clearly indicative that they are not winning, sir. As of now, they are getting a very tough time for the very seasoned fighters of the Tajiks in Panjshir. 11 Corps is designated for POK. In wartime, bulk of it could come into POK for offensive roles. My advice to the government is that if you want to take POK, you could not ask for a better window of opportunity. I mean, that's just, in the passing. You couldn't ask for a better. And at the very least, I fail to understand why India is having peace talks with Pakistan right now. I fail to understand why we have given them a ceasefire. Is it to facilitate takeover of Afghanistan by Pakistan army? If the US has cut and run, does not mean India has to run also. The simple fact is that the US is 8,000 kilometers away. We are next door. We cannot afford to cut and run. We have nowhere to cut and run. We just have to fight. And I think if we have to fight, you might as well fight forward rather than waiting for him to come to Panipat.